This is Adomako Man, and you are tuning in to the Producing Peace podcast, a podcast that celebrates the vibrant tastemakers shaping NYC's cultural landscape. From artists to activists, we spotlight individuals driving positive change and shaping the future of our city. I'm introducing a multifaceted talent whose presence has graced numerous artistic and cultural spheres. As a figure who has illuminated the screen in the critically acclaimed Kiki documentary, her versatility extends to the realms of music, modeling, and photography. She has been the face of high-profile campaigns such as MAC Cosmetics, Calvin Klein, Telfar, Jean Paul Gaultier, Tommy Hilfiger, Nike, Victoria's Secret Pink, and Fenty Beauty. Her influence has also earned her a coveted spot on the cover of Paper magazine. Not just a force in fashion and beauty, she has showcased her acting chops on popular show FX series Pose. Beyond her professional achievements, she's the visionary founder of the Black Trans Cookout, a vibrant celebration and support network for the Black trans community and their allies. Her activism and community organizing efforts have cemented her status as a prominent advocate for social justice and equality. This introduction can only conclude by revealing the iconic individual behind these remarkable accomplishments. I'm glad to be sitting with Gia Love. Hi.
Hi, darling. How are you?
Good. That's a lot.
That was a lot, and thank you for getting it right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it was cute. That was a good bio. I need to take that.
I'll send it to you.
Please send it to me.
I mean, these things don't these I'm sure you're so much more than these things, but this is just like a piece of who you are. How does that feel so far to have that many accomplishments?
I'm grateful. I'm humble for opportunity. I'm resilient along through the course of struggle and experience. I come from a humble beginnings, and I'm still getting myself out of those beginnings as we practice life. So some of these opportunities are things that are dream come true moments for me, but of course, dreams, once you reach these moments, you just have to have more dreams and more dreams. So the skies are the limits, and I'm just here for the ride.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, I first became aware of you because of Kiki documentary. Mm-hmm. Because actually I know Christopher Waldorf.
Okay.
And so he was a part of another project that I did. And then so that was the first time that I was introduced to you. And then afterwards I felt like I just started seeing you around. Mm-hmm. I would see you on social media, and then I would see you. The first time I saw you in person, I don't think you probably remember this, was when it was a party that Cakes the Killer invited me to, and It was in Harlem. And I just remember you had cornrows on, and you had this little cute black dress, and we was in some house.
Yeah, on the roof.
Yeah, do you remember this?
I don't. No, I remember the party though. It was at Carrie's house.
Yeah. And so that was your house. Oh, that was
no, Carrie.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so I was like, wait a minute. I remember that, and I saw you for that time. I was like, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. Oh, you had the cornrows, and I'm besides this hairstyle, I'll do a cornrow vibe every once in a while.
Yeah.
And then I saw you at the Clad, event that we just went to a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I was like,
we have to link up.
Yeah. Just, I don't know. And so it's amazing to be sitting here with you, and I just wanted to start off with is where you're originally from. I know you're from the Bronx, but what part? I want to know your story even more.
Well, thank you for having me first and foremost.
Yeah.
I'm happy to share with you and your audience. I'm from kind of this area, very close to 166 in Prospect. I give a shout out to 166 in Prospect in my song The Character. I'm actually from the block with Terror Squad, Fat Joe, Terror Squad, where they're from. So I grew up Big Pun bought me an icy before.
Wow.
Literally. Yeah, and he used to ride through 23 Park. And that was my park that I went to, that I used to go to growing up. So it's the Morrisania section. of the Bronx, and it's like the South Bronx, and I've like been a part of like many different spaces in the South Bronx, like very instrumental to my early upbringing, like just like, and also I think like you talked about, like you asked me how did I get like have so many accomplishments so young. I think it's definitely a testament to like the humble beginnings, right, and make it a way out of no way. You know, just always being creative and having a vision and dreaming. And I think that that is something that growing up in the Bronx has afforded me the privilege of seeing the world through that lens.
Hearing you just say that alone, I feel like is a testament to like how nuanced Black people are, how nuanced a lot of our experiences are as a marginalized person, is what you have said previously through your work and things like that. That's just, I mean, because most of the time when you hear about the Bronx, you don't hear like the most, like that sounds so beautiful how you put it.
Yeah, well, I think that a lot of people who speak about the Bronx never experienced the Bronx. And I think that, a lot of what people know about the Bronx is anti-Black. And if you think about like people who talk about the Bronx who are from the Bronx, I think that they always speak about the Bronx in a beautiful way. So I challenge people to visit the Bronx. Because it is a part of New York City and is a very influential part to like Black culture, hip hop, and a lot of people who like inspire and influence us come from the Bronx. And I definitely act like someone from the Bronx, so it's not like I'm like code switching or like I'm from the Bronx. People like see me as a New Yorker generally. So a lot of people, I don't know where they think I'm from, but like, yeah, I think I act like my people.
Yeah. I love that. Just makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Because
I've gotten into a lot of arguments with people like about that. Like, especially when I go like to other countries, and I always tell people like, where the Black people at? Where we at? I need to go to the places where we at. And most of the time, like, the Black people live in the hoods, no matter where you go. And like, they'll be like, well, you shouldn't go. Like, because usually people who bring me out are not Black. So I'm like, no, baby, let's let you know something right now. Like, you brought me out here, right? You know where I'm from? Like, so I know how to navigate, and I know how to survive. And I've seen things, you know what I mean? Like, this is an inner city. But I do think that like the reason why I'm able to advocate for myself and the way that like I do, and like the foundation of my work stems from the like very experience of being from a place like the Bronx.
This is you're gonna be blowing me away right now. I connect with that so deeply because I grew up in the Bronx as well.
Okay.
I grew up near Anderson Jerome.
Okay.
So that was like near like over the bridge from Washington Heights.
Okay.
And then afterwards I moved to Fordham Road.
Okay.
So
I used to live on Fordham.
Oh, okay.
On where did I live? Like 3rd Avenue and 188.
Yeah, that was near me. I was on 186 in Park.
Okay. Yeah, we were right around the corner.
Yeah, wow. That is wild.
Like I moved to Brooklyn at a certain point as an adult.
Okay.
Yeah. So most of my life I've lived in the Bronx.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
I don't come often.
Okay.
I just be like traveling like outside.
I mean,
so I don't think there's not really like which is like weird. I feel like there's not much in the Bronx, like in terms of like what I do and like nightlife and like the things that I do. So like if like people brought a scene to the Bronx, maybe I should bring the scene to the Bronx. I don't know.
I feel like you should. I'm always encouraging it.
I don't know. I think Brooklyn is like more like let's cultivate I like Brooklyn. The Bronx, let the Bronx have the Bronx.
I hear you. I mean, I'm in Spanish Harlem right now, so I'm like, you know what? I love me all of this, but like I need me some of everything.
I used to live in Spanish Harlem as well.
We are just
yeah, we've been like, I think you have my location and you following me.
It's because I feel like a lot of us New Yorkers, we kind of like connect one way or another.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the main reasons why I was like, I have to sit down with Gia. She allows me to.
Yeah.
But I wanted to know then, from how did you transition from going to the Bronx and then hanging out in the Piers? Because like, when did you start hanging out at the Piers?
So I would say like 14 was like the first time I went. And my friend Lamar, who was my first game, not my first gay mother, but like my second gay mother, took me to the pier. And I remember that day because like they were playing double dutch, and like I still can jump, but I used to be a really good jumper. So and I jumped, and like, you know, I was still like I still was like at home with my family and stuff like that. And it also at a time where like I was starting to outwardly express myself and like start to name like the differences in my identity. Um, and then like, you know, as I got older and more freedom, and you know, didn't have to answer to my mom and stuff like that, I would like hang out in the village and more and more and more. So like, you know, it was like sporadic, and then it became a constant experience once I started to have more friends of community, which was like, you know, senior year high school, junior year high school.
Which school did you go to?
I went to Washington Urban High School.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh, so on 14th Street.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
so I was like in the area, so it just kind of worked.
Your school was so iconic.
It was like, because it was iconic. It is iconic.
There was a moment that happened in your school. I don't know if you know this moment.
I know the moment.
Where someone threw a chair out the window. And I think everyone in the city was talking about it. Were you around for that?
I wasn't around for that. I wasn't around for that. But yeah, my school was definitely a tough school to go to.
Okay.
However, it like I had a fabulous time there. So I think like, you know, like you talked about the Bronx experience. Like my high school experience was like really good. I had a lot of friends. My, you know, Genovia, I met her at Washington Urban High School.
Oh, really?
And we like thinking back, like of course we had like issues, but like those were like teenage issues. I feel like there was a lot of space for us to grow and experience ourselves. Who we were becoming, and yeah, like, you know, me meeting her there was amazing. And then like the teachers were like so understanding, like, you know, we like had like fitness gym where like, and they were our gyms were separated by gender. So basically we were in gym with all boys at that time, and like the gym teacher didn't force us to work out. Like he was like, you guys could like just change and sit on the side.
Oh wow.
So like, you know, we had like really good experiences and like teachers who like advocated for us, and we were like in the honors program in that school. So that kind of like, you know, we weren't like in the mix, but we had to, you know, we still had to navigate and be amongst the people. And I'm a tough cookie. I'm from the Bronx, so it's like I was fine.
I mean, you know, like one thing that I just connect and resonate with you so much is like the fact that you care about community. You care about family, which we're going to go into shortly. But I wanted to know, like, since you mentioned Genovia, how do you remember that first time you met her and what that felt like, seeing someone who you might have could connect with in that way?
So the first time, I don't remember I know that we weren't like close at the beginning.
Okay.
Definitely probably on my end. I know I was looking on the side like, you know, what's the tea? You know, we were young, so it was like, you know, she wasn't who she is today. I wasn't who I am today. So, you know, we didn't forge a friendship beginning. At the beginning, we actually had a mutual friend, which then led us to like speaking to each other. But then from like having gym, we like then realized we lived in the same neighborhood. We would see each other on the train.
Oh, wow.
So that's how we built our relationship, because we used to ride the train together, the 4 train actually. Because she lived around here, closer to here actually, on West Swan.
Oh wow.
And yeah, Genovia, like, like I did policy debate in high school, so like a lot of my friends were in that space, but Genovia was like in the dance community in New York City heavily, and like a lot of the LGBT queer kids, like black queer kids, are dance. So like that's kind of what like led me into like the scene, like Genovia, like being a part of it, and then like, also like me finding it through Lamar, and like that's how like we like got we like entered the scene together.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And then so then would you say that like that was in a way the beginning of like finding your sisterhood at that point, or like a undefined
So
sisterhood?
I would say Genovia is like my first sister of community,
Uh-huh.
but I definitely had many sisters growing
Uh-huh.
up, like
Uh-huh.
like Shantae to um Shantae to like Mercedes, Sasha, like these are my girlfriends from the block.
Mm-hmm.
They like live in the Bronx, from the Kenya. Like these are women that were like just like my sisters. So I've always had like that. I had a younger sister, but she was younger than I was, and also she's um, a lesbian, and I'm on the masculine side of things. So I was like the feminine one in the home, like the
Mm-hmm.
child.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't never had that sister relationship. So I always looked for that outside. And Genovia was my first sister in community. Although like I did meet like I had like gay friends. Genovia was my first sister. I
Mm-hmm.
would say, yeah,
Oh wow.
absolutely.
Another thing that like captivated me about you is something that I can relate to, is the fact of like when I saw because I rewatched the documentary just to be up to date, like how much like love your mother had for you.
Hmm.
And I feel like that's so important. Can you
Hmm.
talk about like the relationship between your mother and you?
Hmm.
Do you see yourself in her and
Okay. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I see myself in her. I like as I get older, I'm like, yo, genes and like DNA is like really a thing. Like,
Uh-huh.
and it's not only a physical thing. It's like
Mhm.
I catch myself like doing things my mother do, like as I get older, and like I definitely take after her a lot.
Mhm.
And yeah, we don't speak right now.
Okay.
And on my end, I have no plan to revisit that,
Okay.
but hopefully one day she can find in her heart to um, open that door, and I'll be receptive when that day comes, but I'm not going to
Mhm.
go, you know,
Yeah.
look for that relationship anymore.
Yeah, no, I had the same thing with my
Yeah.
father. I feel like for me, what I usually say in terms of parents, that it's important for parents to be able to accept their children. I don't speak to my father for that particular
Yeah.
reason, it's for other reasons. But I usually say that, like, the reason why my mom accepted me, because, like, she saw me in
Hmm.
her.
Hmm.
She saw me and wanted to protect me
Hmm.
because she loved me. She's like, that's mine. You look
Hmm.
like me. Like, I'm taking ownership.
Yeah.
Um, but like I don't know, like when I saw that part of the
Hmm.
documentary and she was speaking so beautifully about you, I thought that
Yeah.
was just
Like my issues with my mother are not around like like me being trans.
right.
Um, but maybe they are. So I don't know.
I,
But like I don't. It's not like like I'm Gia and I'm gonna be Gia, and it's either you accept it or you don't. And like
mhm,
they had no choice but to accept it.
mhm,
And they accepted it. But like I've had other issues with them
mhm,
that are outstanding, and I'm just not willing to go into relationships with particularly my mother anymore without working towards a better relationship. So if we're going to continue to do the same thing, I'm just not going to do it.
I
So
know.
it's not that I don't want to speak to her anymore. It's more of like I'm tired of this cycle,
Mhm.
and like I'm willing to do the work. If you're not willing to do the work, then we just don't need to do it. So
I
that's where I'm at.
I literally feel the same
Yeah.
way. But I don't know, like there's just like I've been doing my whole Gia
Yeah.
Love research for like the last few, days, and just have become so enthralled by
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And like one thing I just love is how I feel you're shifting the culture of like beauty and what that looks like. And just to say, like, I love the fact that you have this, I'm here and I've been here. I'm not going anywhere. Can you go into the idea of like your modeling career and what that feels like for you?
Well, so like when I was young, like I always had like dreams of like kind of being a person who like contributes to the larger beauty conversation. I definitely did in my experiences with people like on a day to day. I just like, I was I transitioned at 21. So like before that, I just didn't see myself being a male model. And like I'm 33. So like before that, it was just like there was no like diversity. I didn't see it, at least, you know what I mean? And so it was just like I forgot about it. Like I literally forgot about it. Like it was just like, like I forgot. Like I was just like, oh, this is something I want, but I wanted it for Gia. And lived many lives. And during COVID, right before COVID, my agent wrote me on Instagram and was like, "Should would I like to audition? I guess like or come in to be meet them, and not audition, but come in to meet them." And they wanted to sign me, and like I still forgot what my dreams and aspirations were, right? That I had when I was young. And I was just like, I'll do it, like, whatever, whatever. Like, like I had friends around me doing it, people doing it. Like, it wasn't like I was like foreign to like being out there, but like, cause Kiki already happened. But like, I'm just like, okay. And then when COVID happened, I had time to myself. And then that's when I was just like, okay, like, I want to actually like, do this and then like build like let's, for the lack of a better word, a platform out of this, because I saw how people were taken to like me just showing up and contributing to that conversation and the ways that I thought about it as a child and like had those dreams and aspirations. But it wasn't until like one day I was sitting down with Genovia and she put on like the couture shows that were happening, and we were watching the Chanel show, and I was like, Genovia, how did you like start watching these? And she was like, you showed me these, and I was like, and I remember then like being like 18 years old and like researching modeling agencies and like like I remembered what all that I forgot. Wanting to be on America's Next Top Model, like you know what I mean. Like I remembered those desires that I like literally forgot about. So definitely, this is like what I was made to do. In all the things that I do, and I'm like really like happy with like the things that I've done and honored and blessed to have had some amazing opportunities.
I mean, there are women like you and Jari, and like when I see your successes, I get excited. I don't identify as like a woman of trans experience, but like to see your beauty, to see your grace, I feel like it's should be continued to be celebrated. It brings me like, I don't know, I see all the things that you're doing, and I commend you. But I wanted to also know, like, what would you say is like one of like your moments where you was like, wow, I made it, or like I'm breaking barriers. Like I love this like model moment that I just had. Before we continue with our conversation, here's a clip from the film Peace.
You lied. Always into the day I die.
Um, Okay, well, it's been a few because
Yeah.
when I tell you um, like just growing up on the like intersections of many different beauty conversations, like I did not think that I would have like a lot of these things happen, and
Mm.
also because of just you know life, like I literally forgot that I wanted to be a model, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like everything has been a moment, but I'm gonna just tell you two particular moments.
Mm.
One was when I was like featured on my first billboard. I didn't
Mm.
know that it was like gonna be a thing, and like literally I was sitting down with my friend having dinner, and like I was like scrolling through my Instagram and someone like took a photo of it, and it was like in LA, and I looked and I just was like, oh my God, like, you know, I think that like just for me, like I've always wanted to be like a star.
Mm-hmm.
I am a star, but like,
Mm-hmm.
like just like being a star and like just like people knowing you, people seeing you and you like they don't even know who you are. Right. And for me being like trans, whether people know it or not when they see imagery of me, I am trans, I'm openly trans, and I think that that's a big deal. Um, I got a message from like a trans woman who has a child, and she was like, because I'm like, another billboard I've been on, which is in Brooklyn, like up right now, and they were driving past, and she told her child, she was like, she's trans like me, and like basically one day they saw me walking down the street, and like so that's when she wrote me on Instagram and sent me like this whole message. When I tell you, I was like day over, like my day is over, like because I was like for like it was just like me being a kid, like the little kid in me got triggered because
Mm.
I'm like I didn't have positive representations of trans women growing up,
Mm-hmm.
even though they were in front of me, right? A lot of the trans women I encountered had stories and had positive stories, but media only told one story.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't allow us to tell the um, colorfulness of our stories, and I just thought that that was really beautiful. And the last one was like when I did the cover of Ultra magazine,
Mm-hmm.
um, like it was just like just like fab. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
just to be featured and like people to see like the radicalness of your beauty and like, that story was like a very specific story about like love and like being like an outsider from that conversation, which is like something like I could really relate to. And there was this moment we shot this story upstate in the Catskills, and like the photographer Katsunedo, lovely gentleman, sweetheart, had like done a lot of work with documenting trans women, particularly trans sex workers.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, I was like laying on the couch, and he was like above me on a ladder, and he has a very slow shooting style, and like he doesn't shoot a lot. Like usually you're on sets, people are taking a lot of photos. It was very like just Gia. So I was like in my poses, like and he was like talking to me, and he was narrating what the emotion he wanted me to give, and I broke completely down, like in the midst of it. And that moment for me was just like it was a good moment for me because it was like I like tapped in, you know what I mean? And like
Mm-hmm.
in the shot, like I'm like laying there and there's like a tear coming out of my like. But after that tear came down, I lost it. Like we had to stop the shoot because I started to purge. But that's the work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of committing. Like I'm an actress. I'm a performer. I'm a showgirl, and like really committing and being able to express yourself and
Mm-hmm.
emote and give to the world. That's like your advocacy, and that's the audaciousness of
Mm.
like a Black trans woman who comes from the Bronx, and that is like like not the residue, but the what comes of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just have no choice but to connect. and be with yourself. And, you know, I just love the creative, like, moments that I've had.
Wow. I mean, yeah, I love that, like, that these experiences are like challenging you in new ways and you just keep coming out strong. One thing that you just said, which I'm such an advocate for, is about the power of storytelling. And you mentioned how, like, there's a certain way how there's been stories told about women of trans experience, and how there needs to be more work that does better. Can you elaborate on what that looks like for you?
Yeah, I think that, like, when I was growing up, like, I saw trans women on Jerry Springer. It was always in, like, conflict. It was always like, do you know, do you not know, or revealing to someone that you're not even trans, that you're a man, right? That was like, or like you're a woman. Like, it was like those type of, like, really fought, and like you will always get, like, into a fight when you told them. It was just like, I was like, I don't want to experience that. And that penetrated. And I just think that, like, you know, when I think about my life, I just think about, like, you know, like, today I performed at a church. I had an amazing, like spiritual experience today with my girlfriend, and, like, I performed, and then we came here, and she's in the Bronx for the first time today. And we talked about all of these things, and, like, life, and, like, you know, we looked at the graffiti in the elevator, like, and we pumped through the trade to get upstairs, and, like, and all with a smile. We said the alphabets and had to figure out where the apartment was, and we came back downstairs because we had to sing the alphabet to us again. We are people, you know what I mean? And I think that the humanity that exists within trans people needs to be shown, right? And I feel like we, as trans people, we live our lives. And I think that by us living in the world we live in, we're telling our stories. It is up to people who have, like, the platforms and the resources to shed light on those stories, to get, like, so they could be picked up and they could be told. And it doesn't always look like people coming out.
Right.
That's not what I'm talking about. You know, I live a trans experience every day, and I don't say I'm trans all the time, right? But I'm walking in my truth always, right? I'm never, you know, and, like, so, you know, sometimes I'm a key, like, people like, I'm a key. So, like, some guy was like, are you a transgender woman? And I was like, no, I'm a cisgender woman. You know what I mean? Because it's just like, it's just like a whole, like, what does it matter? Yeah. Right? Yeah. But at the end of the day, he was like, what's cisgender? I was like, something.
Oh my God, I can relate. I relate.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just like telling those stories, comedy. You see, like, the comedy, right? Of our experience. It's important. It's like something you can laugh at, something that gives, like, you know, like, the girls something to express themselves and, like, just be. And, like, I think that that's powerful.
You know, it's funny because every time when someone is asking me if I'm gay, I always get paranoid. Because, like, for me, it's like, if you're asking me that, it's like, are you trying to kick it to me? Like, why do you want to know? Like, what's the point of knowing that if I'm gay or not? Like, I walk in my truth all the time. But, like, you know, we catch a vibe. We vibe. We don't need to be like, I'm gay, I'm trans all the time. But I am curious because, you know, you said that you're more in Brooklyn. Is there more trade in Brooklyn than the Bronx, or more trade in the Bronx than Brooklyn?
I think, I don't know. That's like, I pay the trade, so I'm not even, like, they be too obsessed with me, so I gotta pay them. Yeah.
You're
so
like,
no, I'm just headed straight, minding my business. good morning,
Yeah.
good evening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
keep it short. But I guess I don't think I there's trade everywhere you go.
But I feel like there's something different about being in the Bronx. Every time this hair comes out and the short shorts come out, and I walk down the streets of the Bronx, I'm being harassed. Like, hey yo, what's up? Oh, I like your sneakers. I like your bag.
But I think like where like if you go, it depends on where you. Brooklyn is like a bigger Brooklyn is more diverse. So there's pockets of everything in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And I feel like the Bronx is more. It's not a monolith, but it's more one. I don't know. Like it's like yeah, it's like when I grew up, it was like the black people and the Hispanic people lived here. So like Brooklyn is like Bushwick. I mean, the Bronx is like Bushwick and Bed-Stuy put together. Like period. Like a bigger Bushwick and Bed-Stuy. But in Brooklyn, you have different areas. It's like different. It's like so much going on in Brooklyn. So, yeah, I don't know. There's trade everywhere.
I mean, to switch it back to what we were talking about with storytelling, though, you got to be on Pose. What that experience was like, because that was one of the first of its kind to tell stories of women of color who are women of trans experience.
Yeah, so I was only on the series finale.
Hit it with a bang.
I left with the bang. It was funny because I was literally like, I have this like way about myself, a manifestation that I will like. I probably shouldn't share it, but like this as like when something's for me, it's for me, and when it's not, it's not. And like, you know, I could have been on Pose before that, but I said I am not going on that show unless I have some lines. That's what I said to myself. I was like, because I'm from the community, and I was like, I deserve to be. I deserve to be centered in my experience. So like, the first 2 seasons, like I just was like, I wasn't even interested. And then series finale came and I read for roles like, along the way, but I never got casted. But and then the series finale, I guess like that whole like let's get Gia in before we wrap up, and also, because it was like weird, like my character like was like a young girl, because I was like, but I always get like my face is like baby, so I could come off younger than I am if I don't speak and you don't speak to me. And you could tell when I speak, I have a lot of experience. So like, I'm the age I am. But it was a nice experience. I loved working with everyone. And it was different. I've never done television before. And like, it was like, I was on set maybe 3 days or 2 days, but they were long days. Like, ooh. And it was grueling. It was definitely like I have respect for like, India, MJ, and those girls, Dominique, who literally like did it for 3 seasons and are still doing it. Work tour.
Would you see yourself doing more roles?
Yeah, but like it was something about the ball thing that I feel like is not like every show,
right?
Because it's like I'm used to walking the ball, but I don't really choreograph my runway. I like just walk it, but like we have to choreograph it, and like I usually just feel it, but then you have to choreograph it because they're gonna shoot it from different angles, and like it was just a lot. And I'm usually like I like to know everything. Like if I'm gonna get into a performance, I need you to tell me everything. Give me all the details so I can prepare. If you're just gonna throw me out there, I'm not gonna really be that successful at something like that. I don't think like that. I'm gonna come out, but it's not gonna like I'm gonna like be in my head about it. So it was a lot of that I never experienced, but at the end of the day, I was really happy with like, what I saw. I looked fabulous. My little line I had was cute. It was a good experience.
Yeah, I mean, you looked fabulous, and I'm excited to continue to see you grow in what you do. One thing that I've became aware of as well is like the Black Trans Cookout, and you've expressed how like community is so important to you. I'm interested in knowing more of like why you started Black Trans Cookout and where you see it going.
Yeah, so the celebration of Black Trans Women Cookout started like during COVID. We needed something fun to do. These like narratives of trans women being murdered were like definitely affected me. And, I just was like, it's important for us to, you know, show the totality of our experiences. And one thing that the girls know how to do is celebrate and create spaces and pockets of celebration for ourselves, even in a world that doesn't really celebrate us. So I was like, how can we do this out loud in the open, you know, and do it fabulously? So that's when we started the cookout. And
what time of the year does it usually happen?
It's in the summer. Okay. It's a cookout.
Okay. I mean, but is it like July, August?
Oh, okay, August. It's always
like, babe.
It's a cookout.
Yeah, you're right.
It's summer. I guess some people have them in the spring, but it's a summer. It's the summer event. It's usually like towards the end of the summer.
Okay.
And
I am a did sometimes. So.
Yeah, it's okay. It's towards the end of the summer, and it was like I was like trying to like, include the elements of community like mutual aid and feeding people and having a good time. I think that a lot of these organizations out here that are supposed to help people are not really helping people. And a lot of times when they are tasked with helping people, it's always transactional, right? Like, instead of like, like, for example, like, you get tested for STIs and I'll give you a gift card, rather than just giving someone a gift card. Because even if someone doesn't get tested, they still probably need that gift card in the world we live in. Right? So it's like, I wanted to move away from like that transactional kind of like way of showing up and just like literally creating a space of joy and celebration. So, I have visions for the cookout to definitely expand and go to other places, and also activations throughout the year. And, stay tuned. I have something in store for you.
Okay, well, I'll be on the lookout for sure. In terms of the cookout, please send all details on my way.
Absolutely.
Continue being up to date with all things peace by following the links attached to this episode. Thank you for tuning in. Now let's wrap up the show. Growing up for you, because you've mentioned before how we as women of trans experience didn't have like the most great representation. Who were some of the people that you looked up to growing up as a woman of trans experience?
Not growing up. Well, not growing up. Like, I didn't have any role models that were trans.
Or were there any cis women that you said, oh my God, I love what she like represents?
So like with respect to trans women, like it wasn't until I like became of age and I started to do more research on community and I started to meet trans women. Because like the representations I was being shown weren't like for example, those women that were like on Jerry Springer definitely had stories and a lot, and I know some of them. Like I met them along the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, that stuff is not real, right? So it's like that's what they want. They're acting. They're doing a job essentially. Like those women are inspirational. So I don't want to take away from like the people that I was, because I know they were telling a story. They were making a living. They were wanting to be. That was the time and era. But I would say that it wasn't until I did my research and into the ballroom scene that I started to see trans women that I admired, and so many Alora, Mika, Sanaya, Courtney. Just so many people. Ayana. It's so many women. I'm definitely I live for the girls. So it's and I respect my elders. And if you have respect for me, if we could share mutual respect, and I start off with the respect though, just because of if you're out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like the women in the ballroom scene really did something for me because um, that was the space I was in, and like I just at that time, like when like people were talking about like role models and stuff like that. Like people were not identifying the femme queens in the ballroom scene as like role models because like they didn't see them. I don't know like what that was about. I know what it was about, but people like name other women as like role models. But it was like it wasn't until I entered community where I was able to find trans women that I was inspired by. But in terms of cis women, like like the girls like Oprah, Beyonce, like just like those like the girls like Tina Turner, Aretha Franklin. I love a diva.
Yeah.
So it's like that's why the femme queen, like I named a lot of Vogue girls, is because when I first started to watch balls, it was like I was watching the performance category, and it's like diva, like in your own way. And I've always loved the diva. I used to love divas live on VH1. And Aretha Franklin, like just like standing on the stage with like it's just a thing, holding her mic like unorthodox and just like carrying.
Yeah. I mean, so I see like you telling stories in like in a television film way, some way. I don't know. Just the way how you're just telling this right now, I'm just like, oh yes, I'm into it. But speaking of microphones, you just got into music. What brought that up? Because the song is hitting, and I'm excited for what else you have to come.
Thank you.
Because he was explaining like how it's gonna be different, and you got that Bronx swag. You got this like grace, and I'm just like, what else is she gonna pop out with?
Yeah, like when I'm on stage and I perform, I'm definitely a different character. It's more of like the nighttime girl. It's more of Gia the body, like that persona. It's different. I have different personalities that I tap into. Yeah, the music. I always wanted to be a star. Like my mother got me like a karaoke machine one year. I loved American Idol. Like that idea of like just being a star, fabulous. So it was just like, it was a lot going on, and I was just like, I need something to make me happy. So I just like started to like play around, and then like I was like, oh okay, cute. So I'm still playing around, but it's fun. It's cute. It's good songs. It's like people love it. People like to see me on stage. So,
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't get the chance.
I like to be on stage as well.
I didn't get the chance to go to the Poppy Juice performance, but I saw you coming through, girl.
Yeah. I definitely I have a way of tapping in. Yeah. It's like I don't know, like I don't black out, but I definitely take it very serious. And I tap in.
So where
and I know what people want from me. You know what I mean? What gets people up when I'm on stage. I just know it, and I just give it to them.
I mean, something that, because I'm this way, I don't know if I'm reading you correctly, but I feel like at the end of the day, something about you just says like, I just want to have a good time. Yeah. I want to feel good, and I like want to be in the space of feeling good.
Yeah, I love feeling good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I like to have fun. I like to be naughty as well.
Same.
So like that's the whole like persona. And I love when you could just like tap into things, and put them where you want and pick them back up when you're ready to.
So what else is there? Like, what is the next thing?
Like in terms of music?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got music coming out. Yeah.
Do you, is it gonna be like in this year or?
Yeah. Okay. Any day now.
Oh.
Any day now.
Okay. Is there like, so you've mentioned like originally like one of the components was the producer that you worked with that got the song started.
Yeah, so actually, well, that probably was that song, but basically the way I started making a song was Carrie. We were like, I was like, let's go to the studio because she makes music.
Oh wow!
So it was just like, and then we went to the studio, and then we just started playing around. So it was like that's how it started. So like, but in terms of that song, like we invited other people to the studio, and then like literally, like Carrie wanted to go outside for a second. I was like, make a beat, and then we just like made that song. So the first song I actually started working on hasn't even come out, or it's not even finished.
Okay.
The first song.
I'm like,
but like it's just like that's how things work. When it's ready, it's ready. You know, I'm not rushing.
Yeah.
I'm just like I don't like it's my expression. So I'm not really doing it like right now for like, you know, like it's fun for me. It's like, you know, it's like getting, it's like kind of like, you know, like when you like are like, you are like someone desires something from you and you know what they desire, so you're giving it to them. But it's like that type of thing. Like kind of like I could liken it to like sex. Right, like you know what to do to get this person up.
I love that comparison.
So like you just doing it. So that's what I'm doing right now with the music.
You're having sex with the music and the audience.
Maybe.
I love that. And you know, I see it for you. Yeah, I see it.
Maybe sexy, maybe a fight. Sometimes a fight.
Are you that girl? Like I don't really.
No, like I'm very like. Yeah, I'm that girl.
I mean, you're fiery because you're a fire sign.
Yeah. I'm a very sweet person. Yeah. I'm very nice, but I'm feisty. I could be feisty. I'm from the Bronx.
Yeah.
I could be feisty.
Yeah.
Again, I love my like, but my sweet side is like I want to like that is the side that usually people remember. However, like I hope that's what people remember. I could be hot-headed sometimes. You know, I have the gift of gab. I also I'm like, yeah, that's it.
I mean, like, I'm all about beauty. I feel like you just...
But there's beauty in everything, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, yeah. Like, I grew up, like, in a way where, like, I, like, had to, like, fight a lot to, like, kind of get through. Like, that was, like, I learned very quickly, like, if you don't fight, they're gonna bully you. So you have to fight. So like all through like from like literally K through like I stopped like really like doing shows in like 8th grade, but it was shows between K and 8th grade, like complete shows. Then it like would be like a few times a year, then like once a year, then like yeah, but like yeah, it was like people will bother you, and I just never like at first like I used to be very non-confrontational, and people who like know me would be like, "Gia, you non-confrontational?" I'm like, I really was, like I was, but then my brother like instilled in me like no. Which I'm glad, like I had that like lesson in life, because I do think that it is power in advocating for yourself, defending yourself, especially when you're soft, very dainty and kind. You know what I mean? It's power, like no shade, like you know, even to this day, like if I walk through my block, even like they don't know Gia Love, like you know they don't know Gia. They know, so they like respect me and like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, I like, you know, it's just like, I'm fine. Like because it's a history of a feisty girl.
Really? Well, you know, I remember the last time, I swear to God, like there's so many like connections. My last time was in 7th grade.
Okay.
And it was because this guy, in which I'm surprised that people didn't know to don't fuck with you.
Right.
Because for me, I was in 7th grade and I didn't know the code of conduct.
Right.
And so I stepped on this guy's, his name was Louis Rivas. I stepped on his sneaker and
Good, I was started something in 7th grade.
And I didn't, you know, I'm like, la-di-da. And someone pushed me. And I was known as like the dainty one as well. And then he thought like he could try me. And so I like, he stepped on my sneaker to be like, don't do it again. And then he hit me and then I punched him. I knocked him to the ground. And then throughout all the way from 7 to freshman year, because it was like a 7 to 12. Like I was known as the gay guy who beat up Louis.
Oh, wow.
And so I don't understand. I mean, like.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. Like, did you get bullied before that point?
I was always, the thing was, it was like okay, so my experience is that, because I just came back from Ohio.
Okay.
And the thing is like, I'm used to people looking at me.
Right.
Like, I'm used to the idea of like people having this idea of like, oh, like that faggot or whatever.
Right.
But also I'm used to the idea of people loving me and seeing me and receiving me.
Right.
So I don't know if I just repeated the same word, but
No.
So I don't know. I feel like, I think this is my position in a way.
Right.
And so I don't know.
Yeah, I I think that my experience has been literally like, yeah, I think people think that like where I grew up, I think that there's like a resounding thought that like gay people are punks. Like you literally use that as a name to call gay people. So please, that's a nickname for gays. Like, you know what I mean? And yeah, so like it was like kind of like, but like I don't know, like because every gay trans person that I know from where I come from know how to go to take you to town. So I just I don't know what people be thinking, but yeah, it was like it wasn't until then. But luckily, like, you know, as time gone on, like, you know, I've engaged in certain practices to really I've started to know myself more. But you know, hey, one thing can always lead to another. You know what I mean? So let's just hope it does it.
I don't know. This air about you, I keep saying this and I'm going to say this. There's just an air about you that just feels lovely and graceful.
Yeah, I'm very loving. I think that at the core of any experience with me, I do leave with love. But like, I also can meet you where you are.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
That has been
that is not beyond like the realm of my capacity. Like, you know what I mean? And I hate that, like, about me. Sometimes I think it's power in that. It is power in that, but I am a lover, and I would prefer, it's easier to love than to like really be out here, you know, doing ones and twos.
No, I agree. I'm literally the same way. Like, I'm all about like peace, which that's what this podcast is all about. Producing Peace podcast.
We gotta go there.
You know?
Okay. Radical peace.
You know, it's so important. I mean, you know, I'm a Libra. I like to believe as a Libra that we want world peace, even though like sometimes it's hard to attain that. But I do want to know, like, what else are you working on? Like, what is there anything that you can share with me or that you're comfortable with sharing on what you got coming?
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot is in the works.
You're gonna flip this summer around, I'm sure.
And the year.
The year.
It's like the whole thing.
Okay. Well, I want to know, to conclude, how do you produce peace, Miss Gia Love?
I produce peace by like being and practicing Gia Love. Like literally being myself. I find the most peace when I like am assured of myself. And then I could just be there and show up for others. So like, you know, sometimes you get taken out of course, but it's always great. Like I had a great morning, like going to that religious service was like very peaceful and it was very centering. And I feel like that's where I belong. And like, that's, you know what I mean? Like when you are, when I am like close and connected with myself and I understand where I'm at, that's when like the endless possibilities that I have to love and be loved are open. So that's where peace lies for me.
Would you say that you're maybe religious or like spiritual, or?
I'm definitely spiritual. I wouldn't say religious. I've had a fabulous time at the church. It's called Forefront. It was a really nice time. Like it was a different experience. It was like and I went to a church like in November and like had like that very, very stereotypical church experience where like the girls came in and they were not having it. You know what I mean? And I thought I would never go back. But like I went this morning because I performed. So like basically like through that performance though, I was like, wow, like there are, there are like ways of practicing faith that are not exclusionary, that puts, like the practice in your hands. And I don't like to be controlled. Like, I like to be free. So it was just like a really, really, really beautiful experience. So hopefully I'll go back next Sunday if I have time, or the Sunday after that.
Oh, wow.
I think I'm free.
Well, I thank you.
Thank you
so much for joining me and having this conversation. Can you let the people know where they can find you? And because you are someone to pay attention to.
Hi, people. So if you're looking to find me, you can just, oh my God. You see, I forgot my Instagram handle. Hi, people. So if you're looking to find me, you can just put in your search engine on Instagram at The Real Gia Love, and I will be right there. Not the fake one, the real one. So if it doesn't look like me, it's not me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.